Thanks, Brian. As you say, we're joined pitchside by Altrincham co-chairman Bill Waterson ahead of kick-off. Bill, let's get straight into the main talking point of the week, which of course has been the announcement from the National League that while the season is null and void for North and South divisions, the National League itself will continue to a conclusion. I know we've been absolutely 100% behind that proposal from day one, so you'll be pleased, of course. Are you at all surprised, or was that a verdict that you expected?
I felt that once they offered the opportunity for North and South to vote separately to the National League, that we'd get this outcome where Tier 1 would continue and Tier 2 would stop. Still, I'm surprised at how many clubs at Tier 1 voted against continuing. And I've written to the National League this morning to ask them to come up with how we're going to handle the fact that there might be clubs who are not playing between now and the end of the season. We don't want to wait till the last weekend of the season and then go, okay, we're now going to expunge this club's results but give points per game for those clubs. We just have to have some clarity on that. Not least to stave off the EFL, some of the EFL clubs saying, well, we can't have clubs coming up from the National League this year because you've not had a proper season. So there's a few details to be ironed out, but the National League, I think, has proven itself to be an elite league, which is the league that we deserve to be in, and we need to behave like that. We need to recognise the work that Noel White and others did to set up the automatic promotion to the Football League, and we need to live up to those responsibilities, and we've always said that that's what we'll do. And so I'm very pleased that we're carrying on to the end of the season now.
Yeah, we've got Dover at home coming up early next month, so there does need to be clarity on that for sure. Is there also a case for saying that if clubs, there might be some sympathy for the plight of one or two clubs who've been against carrying on, but is there a case for saying that if you're in this division and you've got your eyes on going into the Football League, you really should be able to stand on your own 2 feet?
I have massive sympathy for clubs who are finding themselves in severe financial difficulties. I mean, the North West has been badly impacted by this. We've lost Macclesfield and we've lost Bury in the last 2 seasons. So we know what happens, even in healthy times when clubs are not able to earn the revenue that they want to earn. So I think more of a focus should be on how we're going to finish the season rather than on what do we do with for example, the Dovers of this world in terms of their results and what happens to them next season. We've just got to make sure that we've got a league that's full of integrity for this season.
Yeah, but just on that point about whether we should be able to stand on our own 2 feet or not, I get what you're saying about integrity and so on, but there has to be a sort of survival instinct as well. How are we managing to make it work in the absence of fans coming through the gate?
We've raised a lot of money over the last 12 months through share sales, through inbound investment, through increased sponsorship, through our fans putting their hands in their pockets, and all of these sources have been fundamental in keeping us going. I think if we hadn't have had that level of support from all of those stakeholders, we'd be in a very different position right now. It's not going to be easy over the next few months, and we've got some major investments coming up. I'm sure you're going to ask me a question about the pitch, so I'll wait and answer that question at the appropriate time. But we're going to be spending money in order to try and move this club forward, to keep moving forward even through these uncertain times of the pandemic.
Okay, well, let's get straight to that then. We're playing here at Broadhurst Park for the simple reason that excessive rainfall in January has taken its toll on the Moss Lane pitch, but we know about the problems that exist, and there are plans in place at the end of the season to do something about the necessary remedial work.
Yeah, that's right. We've put in a grant application now and a programme of works that's been signed off by some pretty senior experts in the field of football drainage and the like. It looks like it's going to be between 120 and 150,000 pound that we're spending in the closed season. We're hoping to get grant funding for some of that, but we recognise that grant funding or not, it's something that we've got to do. We were unable to spend the money in the closed season because there wasn't really a closed season. We've always had drainage problems. Now is the time to put those right. It's a fairly extensive set of remedial works. It's short of a full-blown pitch replacement, but it's putting in place new drains and a new pitch, which we think will last us for 10 years. It has to be maintained throughout that period, so we're already budgeting for the additional expenditure we're going to have over that 10-year period every season. But we need a pitch that allows Phil's team to play the way that Phil's team plays. We've shown away from home how good we are. We now need to give ourselves a surface at home that allows us to push on.
Just quickly on that, though, Bill, I think there have been a lot of scare stories you've probably seen about the drainage being beyond repair or remedy because of the table water or whatever it is over on the pop side, between the pop side and Golf Road end. Have you had assurances from the people who are going to do this work that that is actually something that can be remedied?
So we're going to replace all of the drains on the pitch. We found out through the analysis that we've done recently, there's a bunch of them that are working really well, that are dry as a bone inside. There's a bunch of them that are silted up. And that might well have been taken into account by remedial activity over the summer had we been able to do that. But what we will do is we'll make sure that the drains that we put in place under the pitch are more robust than the ones we currently have. We're also putting in place some new drainage around the pitch that will address some of those issues. There are water table issues and the like, but we believe as long as we mitigate them to the fullest extent, including things like new guttering at the Golf Road end to stop any water coming off the Golf Road end onto the pitch. There's other stuff we can do. There's a bunch of stuff that each will lead to a 10% improvement, and the bulk of the work will lead to a significant improvement. And we've had expectations of a 10-year guarantee for the state of the pitch. So we're confident now, finally, that this serious money that we're going to spend will deliver a much improved outcome.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I mean, just before we close, we don't want to be still talking here when the players come out to start the match, but it's a sort of a proactive feel about the club, and that's illustrated again with the scheme that's come to fruition today, the Future Robins initiative, where basically the club have pledged to match stream sales with free under-12 tickets for local schools. I mean, and we shouldn't be surprised, given the level of support from Alti fans throughout the pandemic, that the response has been phenomenal, has it not?
We set a target of 1,000, and every time we've asked the fans, every time we've asked the sponsors to put their hands in their pockets, and we try to do that as few times as possible, they've come up and they've really repaid us in spades. As we sit here, we're at about 2,100 free tickets, which is going to create a bouncing Moss Lane, bouncing Davidson Stadium when they're all allowed back in. But I fully expect us to by the time we get to kick-off, we'll have moved beyond that figure. It's an incredible response, and thank you to all of the fans and to all of our sponsors who put significant funds into this. And we can't wait to have you all back at the J. Davidson Stadium, whether it be this season or more likely the beginning of next season, to enjoy National League football or even perhaps beyond.
Indeed, and I mean the idea obviously is that the kids will come along to a game and get in free of charge and think, actually this was good enough for me to want to come again, and we then build the fan base that way.
It's great, the number of fans who have contributed, who've gone, this is how I got involved, free tickets back in the day, whether it be the 80s, the 90s or more recently. And these are some of our finest fans who've been with us through thick and thin over all of the years since, and you think, these initiatives, even if 2% of the fans who come become long-serving fans, that's a huge long-term investment that each of those fans will be making over their lifetime to the club. It's how I got involved, and let's hope that we pick up a whole bunch of new fans as a consequence of this initiative.
Indeed, every indication that will be the case. So, Bill, thanks so much for joining us for a chat pre-match, and it's very much appreciated. That's Bill Waterson, co-chairman of Altrincham Football Club.
Thank you.